Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Geek Retreat. Welcome. It is Sunday night. My name is Rillian, and this is Geeks of Glory on YouTube and Mixer. Hello, everyone. How are you doing tonight? I'm going to lose the hat here because it's getting in my way, but had to start off the show right. How are you doing tonight? It's a beautiful Sunday night out here on the beach, and we are rocking it. We are rocking it. I guess I should move the mic a little bit closer so you guys can actually hear me. Hello. How are you doing? Can everybody hear me okay? Oh, boy. It has been one heck of a day. Let me just put it that way. But actually, one heck of a week, to be fully honest. But, you know, these things do happen. These things do happen. Hey, editors, how you doing? I'm doing okay. I'm getting through. You can hear me just fine? Well, that's good. That's good. Great. All right, I got out my 3 different versions of chat here, so hopefully I can watch everybody. Also got stories and stuff lined up, because, guys, it has been a busy week. I'm just looking at gaming news, too. But, yeah, thank you, everybody, for coming along tonight. It is great to have a return crowd here. I know I'm really nervous about tonight, because I don't feel like I've got everything laid out as well as I did last week. So, for one, I'm trying to work with Restream here, and it apparently rechanged the YouTube title after I changed it for this week. Not very nice of them. Not very nice at all. But, yeah, I guess, what can you do, huh? All right, let's see, some other things. Hey, thank you for that. I am not sure what those things do, but thank you for that sticker there. Quilton Zen. I appreciate it. 300 sparks. It's a little kitty thing. Oh, I know what those are called. They're a little dessert thing. I'm blanking on the name right now, but I know what they are. And pizza. You're just loading me up. Oh, I just went and had an Italian. 1,000 sparks with the game controller. Jeez. I'm not sure what the sparks do, but either way, thank you. Oh, GG Heart. Right back at you, Mayhem. Thank you very much. Is that a... Oh, it's a love robot. Oh, and chocolate. Woo. Put my pants... Do I have to put pants on? I put on the annoying shorts for you guys and everything. I mean, you know? And it's cold here, so. Oy, oy, oy. Oh, thank you. That coffee's going to help. The coffee will really help here. All right. Whew. Legs get itchy. You think the collar would help, but. Yes, that's the idea. That's the idea. All right. How do I sound over the waves? I know last time I listened back to the thing and it the waves were a little too loud, so I can adjust background noise here a little bit. Yeah, I know that beach doesn't look that cold. I know it doesn't look that cold, but it's a little chilly here. Had a cold front come through just in time for me to get here. But guys, thank you for all those sparks there. I am doing all right, editors. How about yourself? And thank you, Brown Meister, for pointing out the fact that the YouTube channel did change the title on me, because that made things a little annoying. I'm actually going to do a little shimmy here. Hold up. We're going to scoot over here a little ways. There we go. There we go. I'll just put myself in a corner. JuliettKiloFoxtrot, thank you for that follow. I believe that was over on Mixer. Yes, okay, Hypebot. picked it up. So definitely thank you for that follow. And guys, as last time, once I get going on stuff, I won't be taking too many questions or comments until the end. I'm not going to be ignoring follows and alerts and stuff like that. I just won't be acknowledging them live or in real time, just because I do want to keep the conversation going with my guest when we get to that point. Speaking of which, Streamlabs just kind of gave it away. My guest for tonight is JuliettKiloFoxtrot, and that may not be... No, never mind, it's right. I've been correcting spelling on it all day, so I looked at it just now and I went, uh-oh, I messed up again. But no, I got it right. Haha. Anyway, he and I will be talking stuff here in a little bit, but for now, go over, give him a follow there on Twitch and Twitter. Let him know that he is loved by this community, because we certainly love him around here. Doing good, been playing a Terraria randomizer. It is certainly something. Have to check that out. Oh, that's right. It's wrong there too. I got it. She's currently not here, so she can't fix anything like that. She's here in the building, just not. JuliettKiloFoxtrot just messaged a group message we've got going and said, I've got its information wrong, and that's on me. And normally I wouldn't call things out like that, but I just letting you know I saw it and I'm fixing it. His Twitter handle's wrong. That's my bad. That's my bad. I'm fixing it. There we go. Then I do this, and it should work. Oh, no, it's not going to do it. Fine. Well, it'll come around again here in a minute. The Twitter link is wrong, so wait till the next time the timer goes off. 10 minutes. It's not going to be that long. And then use that Twitter handle. But for now, go visit his Twitch. All right, let's see. So we got some announcements from around the horn. I guess I should start with the event that I forgot about this coming week. And I'm feeling kind of stupid about it, and you'll see why here in a second. But being as it's the first week in February, something's happening this week that I really shouldn't have forgotten about, but I did. So I'm feeling kind of stupid. You mean the one that's on right now? Well, this, yes, but no, I mean another one later in the week. Or are you talking the Super Bowl that's today? Because we don't care sports ball. We don't care sports ball around here. I mean, if you guys enjoyed, great, good for you. I used to love going to the parties and stuff, but otherwise, I could care less that the game's on. But no, that's not what I'm talking about. You see, it's my birthday this week, and I forgot about it. Don't watch anymore. Yeah. Hey, Star Knight 5, how are you doing? Good to see you in here. Yeah, it's kind of my birthday this week, and I forgot about it. How? Because I've been so busy with everything else? Yes, I'm over busy. So I forgot all about my birthday. Yeah. Well, good to hear you're doing well, Star Knight. I'm very glad to hear that. So, yeah, we're going to have a celebration stream later this week. Not that old, Mayhem. Shut up. Either way, day of, I'll probably go out and do something with my family. So you guys aren't going to see me day of my birthday, but you will see me the following day anyway. You'll see me on Friday. So we're going to do a celebration stream on Friday. February the 6th is my birthday. But we're going to celebrate day after. So Friday will be a celebration stream for us. So yeah, stop by, chat with us. Wish me a happy birthday, because I forgot. Well, thank you, Chaos. Thank you for the happy early birthday there. And editors. Thank you, guys. Yeah, I'm getting up there. I'm getting up there. Hippo birthday. Thank you. Anyway, so we'll be doing something then. I'll put some more stuff out on social media. Arini reminded me about it actually as we were driving home from dinner this evening. And I went, oh, crap. I can't believe I forgot about that. I'm a little too busy right now. All right. But other events coming up later this week. We will be... Where is in question and when is exactly in question. But on Wednesday, I know it is going to be Wednesday, we are going to be launching our first D&D stream. Hype! We've been really excited about this, really wanting to bring you guys with it. Okay, see you, Chaos. Go watch your sports ball. We're really excited to bring it to you guys. We've been wanting to do it from the very beginning if our D20 logo wasn't a dead giveaway. And it's finally coming. I got a bunch of video editing to do between now and then. No, it is not live streamed. Sorry it's not going to be that way, but trying to get people together every week is difficult. So I get them together every other week and make them stay all day so I can record like 6 hours of footage. Yeah. But we will be bringing to you our D&D content. It's just where and when is in question. It does start Wednesday. Also, we have a new host joining us. I can safely say we have a new host joining us. And his identity is not secret because we announced before. Oh, boy. I don't know where these hiccups came from. We announced before that he was going to be joining us. The when was just a little bit in question. But Slade Zeno will be joining the Geeks of Glory here either this week or next week. There's a little bit of question just because he's having trouble with some streaming software. He may join us this Thursday if he's available and have time. Or for sure the following Thursday. And he will be taking up the spot of our card master. That's right. He will be teaching you how to play games like Eternal, as well as other free-to-play card games. So make sure you join early and grab the games so you can play along. Hey, by the way, JuliettKiloFoxtrot, I just noticed you were our 10th follow there on Mixer. Thank you, sir. Thank you. How's my shoulder doing? It is doing better. It is still painful. I was able to sleep most of last night, but I was still awake quite a bit with it. But so it's better. It still hurts me a bit. So if you see me leaning to one side, that's why. Yeah. But thank you for your concern. I do appreciate that. Okay, so I think that takes care of most of the schedule announcements. But guys, if you do the math on that, once we get those 2 shows up and running, that's 7 days a week for Geeks of Glory. We will be live 7 days a week. Ooh, today was a cane needed day. I'm sorry to hear that. For those of you that don't know what she's talking about, I was complaining Friday about my shoulder starting to hurt. And it's a condition I picked up when I was an officer candidate school in the Navy. And it's actually the muscle that goes over my shoulder blade isn't always strong enough to hold it in place. And so it will start actually like peeling away from my back. Really freaking painful. I've never felt something... Well, no, I take that back. One of the surgeries I had was far more painful. But it sticks with you for a couple days. And there's really not much you can do about it. Painkillers won't touch it. I just kind of have to live with it for a while. But it is starting to feel better. It usually only lasts like 2 days at max. So I just got some of the remnant pain today. So, yeah, I'm getting better. No, it's not nice. It's not nice. The eldest geekling was actually asking me what it felt like. And I kind of worked my fingers in right where his shoulder blade was and just... He could kind of feel it getting in there a little bit. And I said, does that feel good? He's like, no, that's a little bit uncomfortable. And I said, yeah, well, imagine if I actually dug in there and pulled. That's what it feels like. Yeah, he wins pretty hard at just the thought of it. So anyway, other thing. I think this is our last major announcement to go. Rini's coming over here with a purpose. Do you need me for something? Okay. Last major announcement that I think we have for tonight is we need your help, guys, with a couple different things. I don't have thing set up over here right now. Tips should work in Mixer, I think. I got to check that real quick. Commands. Yeah, exclamation mark tip. Should work there. And if anybody over in YouTube wants it, let me know and I can get it to you guys. But that is to our tipping page. You can help us out big time here because we got PAX 4-day passes. But right now, we can't go and use them. We don't have the funding for a babysitter or for a hotel or anything like that. So we'd like to go. We'd like to meet some of you guys there. But we need help. That's what the progress bar is for up top. So if you can help us out with that, that would be great. Also, some of our equipment is starting to fail. So we need to replace some of it. If you guys can help us out with that, either let me know afterwards or over on our Twitch channel, you can use !wishlist and get the link to that. I'll try to make that more accessible in the future. I'm still trying to find a bot that will work on both Mixer and YouTube at the same time. So far, I'm failing at that. But yeah. So that's the last major announcement that I can think of right now. So I guess let's get into some of the news here. I checked Nightbot Mayhem. I found that it will work on both platforms, however, not at the same time. I would have to go in and set it up individually as two separate bots, and I'd really prefer not to do that, so that's why I'm still looking to see if I can get one that works on both at the same time with one setup. It'd be freaking fantastic. But if nothing else, I may just end up going with Nightbot. Okay, so gamer news. This first one I'm really excited about, and it's one of the reasons it's on the top of my list here. If you guys are familiar at all with Wizards of the Coast, which, just judging by our geeky community, I'm sure you guys are familiar with it. Star Knight, thank you for that follow. Welcome to the crew, you glorious geeky. Wizards of the Coast just announced, well, okay, I guess I should back up. They're the creators of D&D and Magic the Gathering, things that are very near and dear to geeks' hearts everywhere. At least I think so. They just announced the launch of their new studio, Archetype Entertainment. Now, this isn't another board game or company that does the same kind of stuff as it. It's an electronic game company making games for computers and things like this. Specifically, they are a story-driven RPG studio. Getting a little bit more what they mean by that here in a second. Right now, they're being headed up by General Manager Chad Robertson and lead designer and head of studio James Olin. I hope I said his last name right. Between the two of them, they have worked on such titles, or they were both previously working over at BioWare, I guess I should mention. They've worked on such titles as Anthem, Star Wars The Old Republic, Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, Neverwinter Nights, Knights of the Old Republic, Dragon Age Origin, Jade Empire, Mass Effect. And Mass Effect. Sorry, I had two separate lists here that I was trying to read off of. So there's a lot of pedigree there. So far, those are the only known employees there. It's not known however many others might be working with the group. But between these two, they do have a pretty incredible resume. Interesting fact is they are not starting with a Wizards of the Coast product. They're not starting with a D&D game. They're not starting with a Magic the Gathering game. It is an impressive list. I agree. Instead, they are starting with a, I quote, story-driven, multi-platform role-playing game set in a new science fiction universe. All I know is I am really excited to see what they come out with. With a pedigree like that, I'm excited. Plus, the minds over at Wizards of the Coast, I'm sure will be getting involved as well. So I really look forward to see what they do. And for any of you living down in Texas or thinking about a move to Austin area, they're hiring. Go check out their website. They're looking for a bunch of people to join them. So, you could always go and do that. Let's see. All right, that's that story done. And big surprise, Bungie just pulled an oops this week. Apparently, in their game Destiny 2, some players lost their rare enchantment materials after the patch. Now, I know Mayhem plays Destiny 2, so maybe he can tell us how big a deal this is. But apparently they lost, not all players, but some of them lost their Glimmer, Ascendant Shards, Enchantment Prisms, and more. And it took a little while, but I guess Bungie finally did perform a rollback to what everybody had just prior to the patch. But apparently this was a bit of a big deal. And again, maybe Mayhem can back up how rare those items are. But yeah, I know grinding for stuff in other MMOs was never fun. And even if they're not a rare item, I would be super pissed about that happening on my account. But apparently everybody got their stuff back, but it's got to suck for the unaffected players then to have their stuff rolled back. I don't know. I guess we'll see. And there's been a lot of hype. Now we're going to move over to Blizzard, who's made a couple bumbles this week. There's been a lot of hype around Warcraft 3 Reforged being launched. Now, Warcraft 3 was one of the games that really helped put Blizzard, or make Blizzard into what it is today. Now, many of you probably know about World of Warcraft, set in that world. Enchantments, Prisms cost the equivalent of 100 standard level items. Players also lost silver, which is the currency people obtained by paying. Ooh, that's nasty. Jeez, I can see why people are upset. But World of Warcraft is set in the same world as the Warcraft games. That's the names. Except World of Warcraft is the first-person game. Warcraft is the real-time strategy. Warcraft 3 was a bomb. Are you talking the new launch, and are you meaning the bomb in a good way, or it was a bomb? You got to fill me in here, Mayhem. I can't hear your tone of voice. But I have heard some good things about it. And I know I've played some of the older Warcraft games. New and bad. Okay? Doesn't altogether surprise me, especially after some of this news that I was reading up. One of the big things that Warcraft 3 had, the original, was a huge custom game scene. Players would go in and make their own game modes. And these actually gave rise later to the games like Dota 2 and League of Legends. Which, keep in mind, this is important for later part of this topic, do not belong to Blizzard. They belong to other companies. Well, now Blizzard has announced, or not announced, they snuck it into their terms of service, that all copyright material is banned from the custom game mode. This would make it impossible for members to create things like we saw in the original Warcraft 3, such as Anime Fight, DBZ Tribute, and Pimp My Mario. They're going to go the way of the floppy disk. We're never going to see them again at this point. I'm sure somebody will still have a use for them out there, but sadly, most of us will never get to use them. Also, they snuck in a clause that if you make something like that, Blizzard now has instant and total copyright ownership of anything you create in the game mode. So it cannot be created elsewhere, and they could easily go and shut down any standalone version of custom games. This really hinders what a lot of players like to do. And I feel that... Ooh, yes. Thank you. Thank you, honey. They're also banning forum members for helping others get refunds for the game due to false advertising. Whew. You bet that could be challenged in court? Possibly. But when you agree to a contract like that, it would be a hard fight if nothing else. Oh, yeah. But either way, I know that it's going to put a damper on things. Now, the writer that I got this from did make a decent point that the drinks have arrived, time for the party to start. Exactly. Drink delivery. I know, it's great, isn't it? They did make a good point that this will help Blizzard keep from getting into any of the trouble like they did in the past. I already corrected it, Irini. Where Dota 2 and League of Legends was literally created out of their game, but they don't get anything for it. So it kind of makes sense in that way. But again, as a player, I really hate these kinds of restrictions. So it'll be interesting to see. Continuing on with the Blizzard Bumbles, Overwatch Season 21 has been announced, as well as the patches for it. I don't think it's live yet. Maybe I got my dates wrong on that, but I don't think it's live yet. Maybe somebody that plays the game can correct me. But either way, one of the things that they have said they're going to do this season is more updates more often, thanks to the community outcry for the game being kept fresh. So they're trying to be more on top of actually getting updates rolled out sooner. They also have an experimental mode that you can pick from the main game scene. Now, a lot of it sounds like a public test server, but game developers have said no, because it's not for catching bugs or finding errors. All it is going to be for is testing balance of the gameplay, testing out new gameplay methods and things like that. And you can still earn XP and loot drops from it that will carry over to the main game. So, in that way, it's not a public test server. Be interesting to see how it plays out, if nothing else. Also, they have announced hero pools. And what this is going to be is they are going to select certain characters each week, specifically 1 tank, 1 support, and 2 damage heroes, to remove from play entirely for the week. Only for the week. That means each week you're going to have a new meta build for each of your teams, because you're never going to have the same characters in play. So this was an attempt to help keep things going and fresh there, which I can appreciate that one in a certain method. Wow, English is hard, and all I had was 1 sip. How much alcohol did you put in this? Anyway. So, it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. They have said that it is possible they may rotate quicker than a week. Or they may slow it down so it rotates every few weeks or something like that. They're just kind of giving it a try. They also noted that this is going to affect the pro leagues. So it's not just your day-to-day players, it's going to affect everyone. No! I am not drunk yet. Just took 1 little sip. Go drunk, Rill, you're home. But it will also be affecting pro leagues. So if there is any unbalance with this that is too hard, trust me, I think those pros are going to help set things straight. But we'll see. Let's see, there seemed to be another note on that, but I can't remember what the heck it is at this point. So screw it. Next story. Madden wanted to get in the wiffle ball this year, or this week, as we saw that Nike players, specifically ones that are wearing a certain brand of Nike cleat, are getting a boost to their stats. Now, this is technically just a skin in the game. Those of you that are not familiar with Madden, it's a football simulator, or almost a football watching simulator. Talk about a day to be talking about this when America is celebrating the Super Bowl today. Either way, Nike players will be getting a boost. So any of the players that are signed on with Nike. Now, I don't know if this is just a game mechanic or if this is the actual real-life player is signed with Nike and therefore their character in game is getting it. But either way, The Verge, an online news forum for gaming stuff, it went so far as to call this move bullshit. And I'm quoting straight off their website. So, yeah, if you got a publication going that far, you know, maybe somebody should take a look at this balancing. Either way, Xbox also announced a bounty program that they're launching for anybody that can find errors or flaws in their coding. And this one I was saving till the end here because it kind of fits our theme for the night of internet safety stuff. But they're looking for any bugs or flaws in code or exploits that could be made to their system. They are offering anywhere from a $500 to a $20,000 or more, given the right situations, payout for every problem found. Now, this is about on par with what Nintendo, excuse me, I'm reading multiple notes here at once, and that does not help. This is pretty much on par with what Nintendo has been offering, a $20,000 reward for egregious errors and such in their coding, but they gave themselves a window, so they might be willing to pay out more often. Sony, for their PlayStation programs, it only offers, get this, a t-shirt. So if you need some apparel but don't really want money, go find errors over on PlayStation. However, if you'd like to earn a little bit of cash, Xbox and Nintendo would love to have you. Okay. Well, guys, that's all the news that I got here. That's all the news I got right now. But hey, that took a little bit more time than I was expecting it to anyway, so. All right, I just looked over, and it does look like my guest is ready and on air. So, we will go ahead and welcome him in. Everybody, please say hello to JuliettKiloFoxtrot. Not sponsored by Death Wish, but, you know, I'm sure he wishes he was. Welcome on in. Thank you for being here.
Hey, Aurelian. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Yeah, you know, it's funny you're talking about bug bounty programs. I don't know how many people keep up with it, but Apple started one, I want to say, a year or two ago, and they're offering up to $1 million for top-level exploits.
Wow.
So if you can find a remote exploit that can pwn an iPhone with 0 clicks or anything being done, they'll pay you $1 million to report that.
So my hammer throwing trick where I throw a hammer at it, would that count? Because I can do that remotely. I just got to get to be a better shot.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think they might not see that the same way.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, let's start off with a real simple question for you. Well, maybe it's simple. Maybe you'll think it's not. Who is JKF?
Well, you know, I'd like to say that's simple, but it's not simple. And, you know, I'm, you know, just another guy. By day, you know, I do software development and system engineering for one of the top cloud providers. I won't mention which one. But, you know, my day job, I do cryptography and data security, so I'm familiar with a lot of the security related things on the internet. You know, in my spare time, I play video games. I play around with electronic stuff at a hobby level. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I have a lot of, you know, very geeky interests, so this fits well.
Very good, very good. I also know that you stream.
Occasionally. You know, I have a stream over on Twitch, JuliettKiloFoxtrot over there, but unfortunately, with how busy my work is and how random my schedule is, I don't stream that often. I was actually just looking at it earlier, and God, it's been a month since my last stream.
Oh, geez.
I need to work on that.
Maybe.
I've actually been thinking about branching out from, you know, mainly I stream Elite Dangerous. Mm-hmm. I've tried to branch out into a couple other games, but it's just hard to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been thinking about going out into some other kind of technical topics. You know, I do programming, electronics, and so, you know, I've been debating maybe streaming the two of those. Yeah,
I have
could
seen
be fun for some people.
Yeah, I've seen some people on Twitch that have done coding that do that as a stream, and yeah, obviously there's an audience for it. It's actually funny what kind of audiences you'll find for different streaming ideas and such, and how they'll take off. Mm-hmm. So, okay.
Yeah, it's amazing the wide variety of topics you find on Twitch.
Yeah, I really appreciate how big a community it is. And obviously, we, with geeks, are trying to branch out into as many of those, especially the geeky topics, as we can. So, always looking for new stuff there and seeing what Twitch is actually accepting. So, that makes it fun. So what kind of games do you enjoy? I know you mentioned Elite Dangerous is one that you enjoy streaming, or is the one that you do stream. What are when you just get some downtime, what do you like to play?
It varies. Elite Dangerous, I put a lot of time into. For those who aren't aware, it's a space-based simulation type game where they basically modeled the universe at the galaxy at a 1-to-1 scale. 400 billion star systems. It's a lot to explore.
Yeah, a little bit.
I like exploration games, sandbox games. So, I've been a big GTA fan. A topic I like watching on Twitch is GTA roleplay. Let's see. Yeah, it varies. Depends on what kind of mood I'm in.
Fair enough.
So.
We got some excitement when you started mentioning that it's a 1-to-1 representation of space here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the game's name is Elite Dangerous. The one he was
Frontier Development's the developer on it. If anyone's a space geek, I can highly recommend it.
Well, with a name like Third Rock Astronomy, I'm betting we've got at least one here. Okay, and what other? You mentioned you got some other things that you do on the side there. What else do you do for fun?
So I've got a project I've been doing with electronics. I've essentially taught myself electronics and do it at a hobby level at home. I've been building basically environmental sensors for home automation stuff that I've been trying to build. So, they're little Arduino clones that measure temperature, humidity. I've got a sensor I built for going outside that'll also do barometric pressure. And I want to feed all this stuff into a home automation system that can then use that environmental data to do different things.
Huh.
So, say you've got a 2-story house. The automation system can notice, hey, it's 15 degrees hotter upstairs than it is downstairs. And with your thermostat that's home automation enabled, it could kick the fan on and start circulating air around the house to kind of even out the temperatures.
Have you been taking measurements in our house? I'm just saying.
No, I've just lived in enough of those.
Fair enough. Okay. And then I guess while we're still on this kind of stuff, more about you, talking about streams and stuff, and this can be ones you've done or ones you've just watched, but maybe give us some of your favorite stream moments, clips, quotes, something along those lines. I'm not going to ask you for favorite streamer because that gets a little biased around here, it seems.
I don't think I have one favorite streamer, so
fair enough.
It depends on what genre you're talking about. It varies. So, favorite moments, clips, things like that. It's a tough thing to answer. I've been around Twitch for probably a little over a year now.
Okay.
I think I started streaming. Actually, it's about a year ago. I first started streaming because in Elite Dangerous, I was going out on an expedition that they did in the game called Distant Worlds 2. Mm-hmm. And basically, it was an adventure across the entire galaxy and then back.
I remember you doing that.
Yeah, it was a great time. And that gave me at least several months of content. But then really, once the expedition was over, things kind of fell off because work took over. So, that's probably one of my favorite times streaming so far.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I remember popping in for some of that. And it always seemed like we were popping in while you were in the middle of a huge transit jump. So,
well, that's all the expedition was. It was 60,000 light years of flying across the galaxy.
Fair enough.
So,
fair enough.
That's get from point A to B in the time allotted for that particular waypoint.
Yeah.
Stopping to scan planets and see if you can find anything interesting along the way.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm sure it's one of those games you get into, and it'd be a lot more fun than just suddenly popping into a stream and going, "What are you doing?"
It is. For some people, it can be a hard game to get into because it doesn't hold your hand.
Yeah.
Frontier's done a lot of work recently with the new player experience to kind of help people ease into the game. But once you're past that, it doesn't lead you around. There's not a lot of quests, to go out and do. It just leaves you to find your own thing and to go do it. If you like exploration, great. Go find an exploration ship and go head out into the black. You have 400 billion star systems to potentially explore. If you like trading, great. Start flying from station to station, trading, goods and being a space trucker.
There you go.
You can be a mercenary, a pirate, bounty hunter. There's just tons of choices, but it's up to you to drive your motivations within the game.
Fair enough. I now have the theme song from Firefly stuck in my head, but
it's so great.
it is. I love it. That'd probably end up being the type of thing I'd start doing if I played that game. But all right, you mentioned a little bit about it, but what can you tell us about what you do for work? Maybe a little bit more details about what it is that you do for the company. I know you don't want to name the company you work for, but just give us an idea of what it is you do. Especially for us laymen that don't know the terms too well.
Sure. I deal with data security, namely data while it's sitting at rest in storage, and data while it's in transit over the networks.
Okay.
And the main form of that comes in the form of cryptography, which for anyone who's not familiar with it, it's basically taking data and jumbling it up in a way that's not recoverable if you don't know the secret that was used to jumble it in the first place.
Yeah.
And in this field, those secrets are, it's a key. These are, think of it like the key to your house or the key to something else, like the key to Fort Knox. You have to protect them. And my day job is basically working on a service that deals with, protecting data and then protecting the keys that protects the data.
Yeah, and you keep those in separate locations, I'd imagine?
You can.
As much as you can.
There's some forms of encryption that allow you to encrypt a piece of data with one key and then use another key to protect that key. And then the first key and the data can live together. Because if you don't have that second key, you can't unwrap the first one and decrypt the data.
Fair enough.
So, but, I work with the specialized pieces of hardware called hardware security modules that store these keys and essentially provide a secure environment for storage of the keys and then operating with the keys such that it never leaves that environment. It's a very niche service that you find a lot in like healthcare and finance and stuff like that, because those industries have compliance needs for these devices.
Yeah, I'd imagine maybe into some of the bigger tech corporations too that want to keep secrets. But fair enough. Definitely nothing we need at consumer level here, but maybe you'll tell me I'm wrong.
No, it's like I said, these are very niche devices. The vast majority of people don't need them, and there are alternatives that will suit their needs.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So I guess since you're working at that level, what do you think as far as cybersecurity? What do you think are some of the worst threats right now facing corporations, governments, big bodies like that today?
That's a good question.
Personal opinion. I'm not asking for anything past that.
Yeah, fair. Funny enough, a lot of the threats these days comes from not really what you would traditionally think of as an insider threat.
Okay.
But from insiders being taken advantage of. So you work in a company, someone is trying to gain a foothold in there, and they email you an email that looks like something that might come from internally, but it has a piece of malware attached to it, and it takes over your machine because you click a link that you really shouldn't have.
Yeah, I know the company I work. Or sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we see this a lot referred to as spear phishing.
Yeah.
Because there's just a lot of these hackers will do tons of research to find out, specific people to go after to get what they want.
And what they taught me at the company I work for is spear phishing is, like you said, specific information about one person to take advantage of that one person. Whereas phishing, just in general, is they're throwing out a more generic net to catch whoever they possibly can. And they know they'll get a very poor return rate for that, but it takes a lot less effort.
You know what? You send out 10,000 emails. All it takes is one person to click a link, and you've gained something.
Right. And it's a lot easier to send out those 10,000 emails. But it does open yourself up to being found a lot easier, too, I'd imagine. Whereas if you just go to one person at one company.
It does. It shows up a lot quicker on, detection systems that a lot of companies run. And so, yeah, the spear phishing, if they can do it, is much more profitable.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I think the company that I work for still lumps that into insider threat because it is technically the person that works for them that is the issue. I don't know if I agree with them on that part, but like you said, the outsider is looking for that one little hook they can get into you.
Yeah. I mean, it technically is an insider threat. Like I said, it's just not the traditional one where you're looking at your employees to attack you. It's just their ignorance being attacked.
Yep. Fair enough.
And I mean, the company I work for, our security groups do trials where they will send out, phishing attempts. And if you click the link, you just signed yourself up for training.
Yep. Yeah, the company I work for does the exact same thing. Yeah. Luckily, it's only on our the side that has access. We have a network that both has access to the internet, and then we have a side that only has access internally, and that's the one we do most of our work on. So very rarely am I actually over on the email that they do that phishing attempt on. So I probably have 5 or 6 of those sitting there, and I'm clueless because I don't check that email unless somebody tells me, "Hey, go check it."
Nice.
Anyway, so shifting a little bit there, what do you think are some of the biggest threats for us as consumers today?
Scammers, really. It's amazing how much, I've heard of people getting taken advantage of by scammers because the scammers took advantage of consumers just not knowing something.
Yeah.
A couple months ago, dealt with an issue where, someone in the family had, lost an account. And because a scammer tricked them into thinking they were an admin for the service the account was with, and sent them a verification code that enabled them to take over the account. Now, luckily the company was easy to work with to get the account back, but, it could be much worse.
Yeah.
It kind of leads to a topic of, password safety, and how people might be reusing passwords across different sites. Just recently within, people we know, through the Twitch community, someone lost a whole bunch of their accounts because of a scammy link.
Yep.
And, it's going to be painful for a while trying to recover from that.
Yeah.
It's an inconvenience and, potentially a financial loss as well.
So which do you think is more dangerous? I know this has probably shifted in the last few years just based on the number of websites we go to and number of passwords we use and stuff. Which do you think is more dangerous? Using the same maybe 2 or 3 passwords over and over again, or keeping a book with those passwords written down?
I vote for door number 3. Use a password manager.
Okay.
Anything you write down in a book, is you got to remember to take it with you, so the convenience factor isn't as high. But I mean, there's so many great password managers these days where all you have to do is remember the password to the manager itself, and you can go and have unique passwords for every single site you go to, and you don't even have to remember them. you never even don't even have to know what they are. I mean, I could honestly tell you probably a good half of the accounts I have on the internet. I have no idea what the passwords are because they're 12 to 16 character passwords that are just randomly generated.
Yeah. I know I did hear... Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, if I ever lose my password manager, I'm screwed, but...
Yeah.
You know.
That was going to be one of my follow-on questions here was, what happens if somebody gets a hold of that password then? Because now they have not only access to the one site, but now they know for sure they have all the ones to the others as well.
It's a fair point. You are kind of concentrating, valuable information in one place.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to make sure to, protect that as well as you can. You need to make sure you have a high quality password on it, one that's not written down anywhere, one that's not used anywhere. And if you follow through, with your best practices like that, even if someone manages to steal the archive that has all the passwords in it, unless they have that password and pry it from your brain somehow, or you have a keyboard sniffer on your machine, but
keylogger or something.
Yeah. But I mean, even some of the password managers take steps around that. Personally, I use 1Password in addition to an extremely long password that it requires to set up the password vault. It also generates a long secret key that it stores as well. And if all you have is the raw encrypted file, you need both the password and that secret key to open it up.
Okay.
And the secret key you never enter other than the first time you load a vault on a machine.
Okay.
So you're not going to keyboard sniff that.
Fair enough. Yeah, and I imagine the ones that have been set up have got to be worth their salts, or people would move away from those. So, yeah, makes sense. Seemed like there was going to be another follow-on. This is why I have this piece of paper here so I can write these down. Okay, we'll come back to it if I can remember. And maybe this is an obvious question, but why do you think the threats to us as individuals and the threats to the corporations are not the same?
The value of the information, really.
Okay.
It's hackers going after different things. Hackers going after people, they're looking for... they want to get compensated for what they're doing, but they know they're not going to make nearly as much as they would as, say, stealing from an enterprise.
Okay.
But, like I was saying earlier, you could spam out, malware to 10,000 people, and it's almost guaranteed you'll get people clicking, at least one person clicking on your link, being able to take advantage of it. Ransomware has kind of been in the news a fair amount, but it seems to be dying down a bit. Ransomware, for anyone who doesn't know, it's basically malware that gets into your machine, and everything of value that's on your machine, it encrypts, and then ransoms your data to you, in the form of like, here's a Bitcoin wallet, send us, $500 or $1,000 in Bitcoin, and we'll give you the key to unlock the data that's on your hard drive. If you don't practice good computer hygiene and regularly back up your data, you're in a very difficult position there.
Yeah.
It used to be in the early days of ransomware, these people really had no clue how, cryptography worked, and there were exploits or weaknesses, I should say, in how they encrypted things. And so people were able to recover their data without paying the ransom.
Yeah.
But they've gotten better in the last year or two, and a lot of those weaknesses have gone.
Okay. So you're saying ransomware itself is getting better. I was actually going to ask the question. You said that it's kind of dying out. Is it possibly because the security is getting better and it's harder for ransomware to get in place?
That's a possibility. I also see it's kind of shifting. It looks like now a lot of the scammers and whatnot that are using ransomware are attacking like governments these days. It seems like every couple of months there's a new city or county government that pops up, with their entire network being taken over by a piece of this ransomware, and it cripples them.
Yeah.
If they don't pay it, they can't do anything.
Yeah.
If they do pay it, that just encourages the people to send out more or
Exactly.
do it again.
Yeah, I hacked you once. Why not again?
Right?
Clearly, you were able to pay this time. I've heard of cities and actually hospitals getting hacked like that too. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe I'm just way too ethical for this type of thing. I mean, obviously, because I'm not doing ransomware or anything. But I feel like even if I were to delve into that field, again, huge if I were, I don't think I could bring myself to attack something like a hospital.
Mm-hmm.
A city or government institution, something like that. Sure, I maybe could, because there aren't lives on the line there as much. I mean, sure, some people might be able to
Mm-hmm.
argue that there is because of this or that, and that would suck. But yeah, I'm sitting here going, really? There are sick and dying people here that you're hacking in and locking away their information, keeping doctors from doing their work. It just
Right? I mean, when hospitals have to go back to using paper records to keep track of charts instead of their computerized systems, and go back to passing X-ray films around because they can't, get to the digital scans,
right.
that's just a terrible, terrible place to be.
Right. And like I said, I feel like the reward versus the ethical level of that is kind of just it. The scales are way too far one way on that one for me to ever understand
Yeah.
that one, I think. But apparently some people think it's worth it.
Well, I mean, to do this stuff in the first place, you kind of have to lack a certain amount of ethics and morals. So,
Yeah, true.
going and attacking things like hospitals, well, that's not that far away.
Yeah, and maybe that's where I'm not meeting at the level here because I'm looking at it way too ethically. Either way. So from what you were saying before, and maybe this is boiling it down way too far, but I don't know. You can tell me. It sounds like the attacks versus enterprise level type or corporations or whatever, instead of the attacks against somebody at our level, the consumer, it's more of a risk versus reward type problem. It's going to be a lot riskier to attack those big businesses because they probably have redundancies in place. They've got better security. They've got people on staff like yourself looking for things. Whereas I don't have somebody here sitting at my computer waiting to see a ransomware attack happen or malware to get downloaded. But I have far less valuable information on here. I mean, they're going to take the pictures of my kids. They're going to take this stream recording. Yeah, it's valuable to me, but good luck selling it to anybody.
Yeah, it's true. Although there is a segment that's not against finding people that they can blackmail for money. I mean, say it's. I don't remember any recent accounts of it, but I remember several years ago that it was hitting the news where attackers are breaking into people's systems, watching them through their webcams, and then when they find them doing either unsavory things or compromising things, recording it, and then it's like, hey, I have this, give me money, or I'm sending it to everyone you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard about those ones too. And I know that put a whole rash of people with covers over their webcams or completely disconnecting them when they weren't using them or getting rid of them altogether in some cases.
Yeah. And I mean, with the way data breaches are these days, the hackers are able to add credibility to it.
Yeah.
I've seen cases where, through data breaches, they can match up. Well, this email address had this password associated with the account. And the hackers will actually include that password in their, blackmail email, extortion email, one of the two, trying to add, validity to it. It's like, I know what your password is.
Yeah.
Now, the ones I've seen of this have never been right, because all the places that, have been exploited, that's not the password I use for anything important. But, they're just drive-by spamming with this stuff.
Yeah.
Trying to scare people, even if they don't have dirt on them.
Yeah, it's almost a spear phishing attempt, but it's so wide that it's kind of a different category almost there too. But yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I know. I
I
think.
mean, I've actually made a game out of that stuff by, each one of those requests usually comes with like a Bitcoin wallet that they're like, send payment here. So I've started recording the Bitcoin wallet addresses,
Yeah.
and I'll periodically go through and just look at the blockchain to see what kind of activity there is on it.
Eh,
So
fair enough.
far, I haven't seen anything interesting, but maybe one day.
And what kind of information would that tell you? Just for the layman here.
I'm looking at it more just to see, are they actually generating like unique wallets per person that they're trying to scam here? Or are they reusing these and, can you potentially find other people that are paying this? So, I mean, I'm curious about how effective it is.
Fair
You
enough.
know, Are they hitting like 1 in 10,000 rates or 1 in 100,000? Or, are they getting like 1 in 100?
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. Excuse me. Whew. What would you recommend for people to do to protect themselves from things like this? It's just at the consumer level for us. Obviously, we're not going to go get the fancy hardware you were talking about earlier.
Well, that wouldn't help you with this kinds of thing.
Fair enough.
I mean, really what you need good system hygiene. Keep it updated, run a good piece of antivirus, anti-malware software. Maybe get some of the more sophisticated endpoint security software. Something that'll do things that will, like scan your web traffic. Because, I mean, a lot of these exploits at the consumer level, it's people not keeping their web browsers or OSs up to date. And, I mean, I've seen cases where a specific site that you go to hasn't been compromised, but like an ad network that they serve networks from has a compromised ad. And that will get malware onto your machine just from the ad loading. So, you need to keep things up to date so that the bad things that are out there don't have anything to gain a foothold against.
Fair enough. I imagine most of the high traffic sites probably do enough sweeps for stuff like that that you're not likely to see that. I'm not going to say it's impossible to see that, but
Yeah, I mean, most of the big sites are usually good with it. And yeah, it usually is the shadier side of the internet. You have to worry about that kind of thing. But I mean, occasionally, the hackers will slip an ad by one of the bigger ad networks, and then it's time to worry.
fair enough.
But
Well,
they also are fairly quick to react to it.
you got a fan here in chat, it appears. Formula Foil 2590 is shouting you out here.
Hey there, Formula.
What's that?
I was just saying, hey there, Formula.
Oh, okay. Sorry. It cut off on my speakers here a little bit. Yeah, you were talking about, the shadier sites and stuff, and I remember I have a younger brother, and he had just gone off to college. I'd been there for a couple of years already. He's 2 years my junior. And I remember him calling me at one point and complaining about how slow his computer was getting because of all these viruses he was getting, and the fact that he'd been blocked from the campus network for a period of time because of his activity. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Well, for those of you that are, old enough to remember LimeWire, that's all I need to say.
Nice. Nice.
For those of you that aren't old enough, don't go searching it out. Don't do it. It was a known trap at the time. Yeah, so it was one of those. Well, I just kind of remember staring there at the phone, just going, "You can't be serious." Yeah, man,
That's
what
awesome.
do I do? Get off of LimeWire. That's what you do.
Yeah, and I mean, those early file sharing networks were just, a haven for that kind of stuff.
Oh, sure.
I mean, even the, sites you have today that serve that kind of stuff, you really shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
And I mean, not even speaking about, the ethical side of them. Just don't go there because you can't be assured of anything.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So one question that was brought up, I was mentioning that I was having you on, and I had some questions brought up to me before. to kind of inquire for you. What are your thoughts on virtual private networks or VPNs?
They have their uses.
Do you think they're
My thoughts,
a necessary thing at this point?
I guess that depends on what you're trying to defend against. For the average consumer on your home network, they're certainly not useful. Where a VPN comes in is if you frequently go out and use, say, public access points or public Wi-Fi hotspots. That's the place where you really need something like a VPN, because you're connecting your computer to a hostile network that can potentially intercept everything that you do and potentially either, even secure network connections. There are attacks that can be done to trick your machine into exposing the traffic to them. But in those kinds of places, it's good to have a VPN, because then all the network sees is the encrypted traffic passing over the network.
Yeah, the VPN's address, if anything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, so I was going to say, it seems like a private versus safe question. The definitions there. One makes you private, but it doesn't necessarily make you safe. Whereas you could also be very safe, but not necessarily private about your traffic. Am I way off there? Or? He's making faces.
I don't know if that last one necessarily works.
Okay.
Because, really, making your traffic private is securing it and obscuring it.
Okay.
And if you're using something hardened like a well-known VPN provider, then you've essentially got both.
Okay. Well, I guess my point there was partly too just where you're visiting in the end run anyway, because you could still go and get malware and viruses based on where you're visiting.
Sure. A VPN just protects your traffic over the network link between your machine and your VPN provider.
Okay.
Anything that you go and visit is fair game for like websites or other kind of sites that you visit. So yeah, everything else still applies in that case.
So do you think these things are cost effective at all? Or do you think they leave something to be desired there?
There are some fairly inexpensive VPN providers. I don't know if I would trust most of them.
Fair enough.
Honestly, you ask about cost effectiveness, and really that's tough for me to say because I don't use any of them. I run my own.
Okay.
I have a server in a data center somewhere that has a VPN gateway set up on it, and I use that for my VPN needs.
Fair enough.
I control everything, so therefore I implicitly trust it.
There you go. Well, fair enough. Maybe we'll have to have you on sometime to discuss how you set that kind of thing up.
Sure.
Okay. And the last one that I really had, and unfortunately this is ending us really early, so maybe I'll have to come up with something more, but you kind of briefly touched on this earlier, but I was given a specific name to inquire about. What do you think about programs, monitoring software, things like Glasswire?
I can't say I'm familiar with that particular program.
Okay.
Do you mean like just like monitoring what your kids do and stuff like that?
No, this supposedly monitors all network traffic going in and out of your computer.
Okay. Some of it can be useful. The problem I see with so much of our traffic nowadays is being passed over HTTPS and other secure connections. It's hard for programs like that to work without being able to intercept those connections and strip the protection off. I don't know how much I would trust a program, even running on my own system, to strip network connection or strip network security off like that. Because it's going to be looking at things like your connections to your bank accounts or your financial institutions, and I don't know if I trust that.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. Well, I think that's all that I specifically had. I was having trouble coming up with questions on this topic because I know just enough to be a danger to myself, I think, in this topic. I need to learn more so I can actually protect myself better here, and that's one reason I was so excited about doing this topic, and then went, but I don't even know enough to ask the important questions here. This is not good.
Well, you've touched up on a good number of them.
Well, thank you. I hope. So I guess, is there anything else that you would want to put out there before I cut it loose to the audience here?
Like I said, I mean, I think we've covered a lot, for just people protecting themselves. I can't stress the importance of, one, good password hygiene. Try not to reuse passwords at all if possible, or if you do, very limited manner. Before I started using password managers, I had different tiers of password reuse. Sites I didn't care about, I had a low-value throwaway password I would use. For medium value sites, things I cared about, but not like, it wasn't a high value target, I'd have another password. And
Right.
then, for things like financial sites, it was a completely different password. And, if a low value password got, exploited, I kind of didn't care, but, it was still bad. Beyond that, keep your computers and software up to date. Think before you click links, especially if it's something that looks either too good to be true or just doesn't feel right. There's some hackers right now, like on Twitch, going around impersonating Shroud, who doesn't even stream on Twitch anymore.
Yeah.
But is throwing tons of links out there for things like free skins and games and stuff like that, and is faking Steam logins. You put your password to your Steam account in there, and they'll go and take over your Steam account and go after anything else they can that reuses that same password.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just I don't know. To me, it feels like common sense. Just think about what you do on the internet. Just don't click stuff randomly.
Yeah, and I know that's a good one for streamers. I know we've gotten a couple things here recently in the past, especially where Geeks is really it's glowing. We drank that radioactive fluid, and now here we go. No, but where it's growing, we've started getting more interest, especially with our website and stuff. People have just been able to come in and fill out the forms and drop us information. Most of that I just end up ignoring because you can tell right from the beginning it's junk. Nobody's going to put this much into a box that's this big unless you're copy pasting it. Yeah.
Something else to be aware of is a lot of the other types of scams that are going around. I've seen basically through someone else on Twitch who does scam baiting. It's amazing how far and intelligent some of these scammers are to come up with some of the things they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
If you're not familiar with him, there's a streamer on Twitch called Kitboga. And basically his day job is he calls these guys up and just trolls the hell out of them. It's funny to watch. You'll get a call from someone claiming to be Microsoft tech support saying that Windows alerted them to a problem and, they're calling to help you fix your computer. And when really what they're going to do is scam you out of $300 or $400, make it look like they're fixing something on your machine, but in the end, probably install malware so they can come back and actually make another call later to get more money out of you.
Yep. Yeah, I've seen stuff like that. There's a comedian that I've seen do some things like that with just the spam email chains. And then I was going to ask you about this one too. You said you like to play the games with like the, I don't know if games is the right term, but you like to investigate a little bit into the Bitcoin accounts and such. Have you ever played games with like one of the hackers or malware individuals that have tried to get you?
No, I've briefly thought about that, but I'm just not that quick with the responses and coming up with the role play necessary to convincingly interact with these people.
I got
So I'll just sit back with popcorn and watch others do it.
Fair enough. I got an email. Oh, it had to have been maybe a year ago at this point, but I remember getting an email mentioning that I changed my login information for this one service that I hadn't used in years. But, there was a few things on there that you had to pay real world money for, and I know some people will go crazy for stuff like that. So it was one of those things that I'm like, whatever, I'll go back and change my password so they don't actually get access to this. I logged a ticket, changed the password and all of that. But when it came to changing the password, I remember thinking about it and going, I really, really do not care about this page anymore, so it doesn't have to be a password that I ever remember. So I remember changing it from whatever random password I had at the time to something along the lines of hack this, mother... 1279,
nice.
Some random combination of digits after that. But it was one of those, I really want your random key generator to come up with that and you see that as the result. I really want you to. Oh, that was...
yeah.
That was my other question from earlier. I remember it now. I heard once upon a time, and I have seen a couple questions in chat. I will ask him. We got plenty of time. Don't worry. I remember hearing once upon a time that as these key hackers were getting better and better, just the randomly generated ones that just try password after password type thing, that having passwords with actual words in it was actually safer because computers don't think the same way we do. So they're going through and trying any random combination starting from A1 to whatever versus, our password of this is my password 227, whatever was going to be harder for them to hack. I don't know if that's still something that's true, if it was ever even true. Your thoughts or opinions on that one?
I have a lot of thoughts and opinions on this. But the webcomic XKCD summed it up quite nicely.
Okay.
We're doing everything we can to make passwords that are hard to remember but easy for a computer to guess, when we should really be using passwords that are long and easy for us to remember but hard for the computers to guess.
Right, because they're going to go through and use every character in combination, even if they know the length of your password.
Yeah, I mean, they're smarter scanning these days. It used to be you would get out and brute force passwords and just try every possible combination.
Okay.
The problem is right now there are just so many dictionaries of passwords available that it's too easy to just take these dictionaries and go through them first. Even if your dictionaries are several million entries long, it's quicker to scan those and have a good likelihood of hitting something than trying to brute force everything.
Okay, fair enough.
Because really, with brute forcing, you're playing an entry game. How much actual randomness is there in that password, and how long will it take you to guess the right one?
Yeah.
I mean, it's shown time and again that password lists are published. And, here's the top 1,000 passwords that have been found in data breaches and things like that. And it's amazing how many times passwords like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and password 1 and things like that are near the top of that list.
Yeah.
Things like that need to stop.
Yeah. I can agree with that one. All right.
I had a password of my own that I had forgotten that I needed to guess. And, it was a semi-randomly generated password. It was generated based off of a pattern, but it was still randomly generated.
Yeah.
And this was on a email signing key that I'd had for like a decade, and I wasn't willing to throw it away. And so basically I wrote a brute force algorithm taking advantage of the pattern of how I generated the password.
Yeah.
And on my laptop alone, it only took 20 minutes for it to find the password.
Jeez. Fair enough.
it's scary just how fast computers are with some of these things, especially if you're not using things like secure hashing on these passwords on this server side. You can, if you don't use any kind of secure storage for these things, I mean, you could almost take like a semi-obfuscated copy of a password, paste it into Google, and it'll tell you what it is, because tables of these things exist online and Google has indexed them.
Wonderful. Thank you, Google.
Right?
I say as I'm streaming on their platform.
They'll forgive you.
Yeah, hopefully. Oh, what's this? Instant banned on YouTube. Okay, well, moving on. All right.
Some say YouTube's dying anyway, so...
Some people do, whereas other people say that it's just getting ready to take off. So, who knows? I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Either way, I've seen it a couple times now. Formula Foil really wants to know Avast or Malwarebytes.
That's a good question. I've used Avast. I haven't used Malwarebytes. If you're looking for a free AV scanner, Avast works.
And these are both virus protection services, right?
Yeah, they're antivirus programs. And I think if they may do anti-malware as well.
Okay.
I can't remember.
I know I've used Avast in the past, but...
Mm-hmm. Really, before Windows Defender got good, Avast is what I was using on Windows. Okay. These days, I just use Windows Defender. It does a well enough job.
Yeah, Renee's saying she's used Avast before, and Formula is agreeing with you here. Okay.
Yeah. The only thing that annoys me about Avast, especially in its free version, is just how annoying it is with ads for its other services and trying to get you to upgrade to the paid version.
So, okay, this brings up an interesting one on my point, or on my end. What is the worst paid-for antivirus software you've ever seen?
The worst?
I've got a reason for this question.
That's a great question, and I don't know if I have an answer to it. I mean, in a previous life, I used to work for one of the antivirus companies, and, when I worked there, I got a free license to their software.
Oh, fine. Okay.
Which wasn't terrible, but I wouldn't have called it great either.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's hard to say.
Fair enough. Well, I know the one for me was actually McAfee. I remember, for one, that seemed to be coming on all computers for a long time. It still does come on some, but like, here's your test. You get McAfee with that. And I'm like, I don't want it.
Are they still alive? I
think so. They volunteered to download along with something all the time for me, and it's like, no, I don't want it. But I remember distinctly this one computer that I had. I built a lot of my own computers when I was younger. Not really knowing what I was doing, kind of accidentaling my way through it. But either way, I remember having this...
It's a rite of geek passage.
Yeah, pretty much. It's only in the last couple of years that I've really learned how inept I was at that and how lucky I am that any of those computers actually ran. And that I only let the smoke out of one of them.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Of a note, for those of you that may be trying to build computers, once you let the magic smoke out of the box, you cannot get it back in. And then it won't work. But McAfee, I was having this problem with what I knew was some kind of virus or something, and I was trying to track it down. I knew enough about rooting through files and stuff to find stuff that was out of place. I had this one folder that just kept populating. It just kept popping up, so I've ended up finding the parent file that kept creating it and shutting it down, luckily. But in the meantime, I've got McAfee sitting there screaming about this file, this file, this file, this file, and I'm like, yes, I know, I'm trying to. But in that mix, I started to notice this other file that was getting labeled, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's not one of the ones I'm trying to shut down at the moment. What's going on? Well, as soon as I got those two shut down, this one kept screaming. I went and looked. It's one of the files for the McAfee executable.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of its own database files. It was saying, it's a virus. I'm like, you're calling yourself a virus.
Yeah.
I have not been a fan of that program ever since.
No, there's a lot of the virus scanners that, at least back in the day, had just terrible false positive rates. I mean, really, all they were glorified databases of fingerprints that they tried to match against programs. And unfortunately, there's a lot of things that, if taken in isolation, could be suspicious. And you need more than just a fingerprint to really identify what something is.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, Star Knight, that's exactly it. The Spider-Man pointing at himself meme. Right here. The virus is right here. And
Yeah.
Formula Foil's wanting you to teach you the way. Or teach him the way.
I mean, way back in the day when I was first getting into computers, I mean, we're talking way back in the day of like DOS. I had, actually Windows 95-ish, around there. I had a job in a PC repair shop. And anytime a machine came in with a virus on it, I took a copy of it and took it apart to figure out how it worked.
Okay.
It's a great educational exercise. And even, just to learn how the operating system worked, played with implementing different ideas, but, it never went to the point of actually building a complete functional virus.
Sure.
Just played with parts of it for educational purposes.
It kind of strikes me then as like a researcher does for like the flu vaccines and stuff. They've got to play with the actual virus to figure out what to do with it. You were kind of doing the same thing then for the computer side.
Yep.
Cool. That might have been fun. Yeah, I think...
It was very educational to learn about, how computers and operating systems and stuff like that worked. It was really my first dive into, PC assembly code, the guts of DOS and, Windows 95. It was invaluable.
Yeah.
Experimenting like that is so underrated these days.
Yeah, I wish I had the know-how and the time to do that kind of stuff, because, yeah, there's all kinds of things I'd love to be able to do on the computer and things that I know are possible, but that almost makes me more dangerous with the computer, because I try it. And I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Just enough to be dangerous.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know how to get into places I should not in a computer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Haven't figured out how to do that on somebody else's computer remotely, but that's probably for the better of things. Just my own computer I'm going to screw up.
Yeah, the problem is because of my work, I know too much of that stuff, and it's like I have to stop and think at times where to draw the line for when I'm like working problems and stuff like that.
Yeah. When the guy's computer next to you starts flickering, you're going, oops. Wasn't me.
I mean, because of the insider threat thing, the company I work at takes very seriously access to computers.
Yeah.
And it's you got to be very careful about accessing someone else's things.
Yeah, I imagine. Fair enough. Well, unless we got more questions coming from the audience here, I think that's about all I've got, and we've still got 60 minutes. That's going to make it interesting. But so I take it you like Death Wish here. Changing gears.
I love Death Wish coffee. Since I discovered it, yeah, it's pretty much all I drink now.
Have you tried some of their other mixes?
What was that?
I was just asking if you've tried some of their other mixes, like the Valhalla, Java, and the Pumpkin that they do.
I have not tried the Pumpkin.
Okay.
Valhalla is actually my favorite of theirs, of what I've tried.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree with that, too. It's a little bit milder. Uh-oh. Quilton Zen saying you've tried the Pumpkin.
She's tried the Pumpkin. I haven't.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Their office is actually just like 2 exits south of us here. So, if you ever want to come visit, we can swing by.
Keep that in mind, because that's definitely a place to, go tour.
Yeah. It's Honestly, I haven't got much further past the open lobby in the front there where you can go and buy some of their stuff. But yeah, I've stuck my head around the corner and looked a bit. I was trying to get them to sponsor us, but they won't answer my emails.
Yeah, keep trying. Eventually, they get tired of hearing from you and just throw something at you.
Once the desk on their, or the stack of cards on their desk gets so tall. Okay, got to call these people back, I guess.
You know, it's like that scene from Shawshank where, they just continuously keep mailing until finally they give in.
Yeah.
Just keep it up. Yeah,
I was doing it for a while where I was like stopping by their office every day and taking a picture of their truck too. The the streetcar type thing they got, or not streetcar, the food truck that they've got. But I've noticed it's not out front of their office anymore. They must have hid it on me.
Oh, that's a shame.
Whoops. Did I take too many pictures of it? Maybe. Either way. But yes, Sereni, they also give a decent discount if you go into their office. So you've got to find it first, and then you can go in there and get a discount. So it's the cheapest place I found to get it so far.
Nice.
It's not saying much because
we're actually on their monthly subscription program.
Oh, okay.
So we get packages of joy from them every month.
Have you gotten the bathrobe yet?
A bathrobe?
They have a bathrobe.
No.
I saw that the last time I was in the office.
No, we get the usual, collection of stickers and the patches that they have and the other things they throw in with their subscription orders.
And boxers.
So, and boxers?
We wouldn't use a bathrobe even if we had one. Quilton Sen, I don't know if I need to know that information. Formula Foil is asking how car mechanics are treating you. I'm guessing there's a story here.
Oh, I've been off and on going off on a kick on Car Mechanics Simulator.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah, it's going well.
That story
went grinding through levels.
That story went a lot better place than where my brain took it. I'm like, oh no, what car mechanic is screwing you over? And I'm gonna have to explain to my father why somebody's ranting about car mechanics on my my channel. And
No, I'm a car guy as well as other things, and don't get enough car stuff in real life. So I go and play with wrenching on cars in the computer.
Fair enough. Oh yeah, it's interesting some of the things that people make as games, and then that people play them because they stick around and or they get sequels. Like for instance, this week, the Epic Launcher's free game for the week is Farming Simulator. 19.
Yep.
Why are there 19 of these?
No, that's the year.
Oh, okay.
But they've
still.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the year it came out. But yeah, I mean, it's fun. Some people really enjoy it. I've dabbled with it. I have it in my Steam library.
Fair enough. Maybe I just grew.
It's not one of my top games, I'll say.
And in all fairness, I went through and bought it on the sale. Just because I try to grab every single one that comes through there. Editors confirming that 19 is the year. And I guess in a way I could see it as being relaxing, Quilton's End, but I don't know. Maybe just because I grew up on a small farm that I'm just like, I don't know that I would find this too entertaining. But maybe that's just me. Then again, some people have a lot of fun with games like The Sims. I've tried with it a little bit, but I really couldn't get too much into it. It was like...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was going to say another one of my, kind of zen-like, just zone-out games is, I play American Truck Simulator.
Okay.
That's just trucking. It's
Fair
fun. Enough. The company's actually done a fairly decent job of recreating parts of the country. And they're, 2 to 3 times a year, they come out with new expansions that add additional states. And every state, you could feel how different they are. And so it's almost like sightseeing for me.
Fair enough. Yeah, and I guess I could see that. And you get to try a different lifestyle than what you have. And I guess I could see that. It's just one of those things when that is something that you've either done or do, maybe it's just not as entertaining. Like I was going to say was, I've dabbled in The Sims a little bit just to see what the hype was about it. And I couldn't get into it, mostly, I think, because I'd be sending my sim to work and going, damn it, I got to be there in 4 hours. Maybe it was just striking too close to home. But, for people that have never driven a big rig, getting that experience maybe, or have never set foot out on a farm, watch out for cow pies.
I mean, I remember with the early Sims releases, it almost became a neglecting your real life to take care of your Sims life. There were a lot of people that just deeply got into that game.
Yeah.
And I mean, I played with it, but usually I'd get bored, and then it's like, okay, how can I kill my sim?
I've seen those meme posts. Get them all into the pool and then take away the ladder.
Mm-hmm. Or watch them go crazy in a room with no doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Quilton Zen saying, it's not everyone's cup of tea. I love watching golf. I have watched a dude reno his house on Twitch, literally watching paint dry. We talked about doing that when we were redoing the Youngest Geeklings nursery. Yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, there's a group of people that would watch.
Fair enough. But, yeah, like she said, not everybody's cup of tea. I don't think I could sit there and watch paint dry. But then again, there was a huge following for Bob Ross in his day. And even still, I mean, it's a Twitch always on program, I think, at this point.
Bob Ross is on Twitch 24/7.
Yep. And, for me, that's not necessarily something I would take the time to go watch. I've seen some of the stuff, and I'm going, yeah, it's cool. And the stuff he does is really neat. I don't know that I could sit there and watch the entire program. I'd rather go down to the paint and sip.
I agree. It's like I can stand little bits of that channel, but it's not a marathon for me.
Yeah, definitely. But... okay, you used to be able to put them in the pool and take out all the pool ladders. Now the little turds can climb out without those. Quickly followed by I love Bob Ross, so that one that got awkward quick. Anyway, all right. Well, I think then maybe this is where we're going to call it for the night. Thank you, JuliettKiloFoxtrot, for joining me tonight and talking about internet security, cybersecurity.
Thanks for having me. It's been a fun time.
Yeah, it's been great. We'll have to get you back sometime talking maybe on another topic that we can... just a different topic, I guess. Yeah. I'm sorry, it's been a long week.
Topics to talk on.
There you go. Yeah, maybe I'll get into Elite Dangerous, and then you can tell me how badly I'm failing at it.
No, not that button. The other one.
This isn't the Sims. Put the ladder back. Ask him about Mopars.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
She's getting into car territory.
Uh-oh. Well, fair enough.
I mean, what's there to say? Who doesn't like cars with big growly engines in them?
Hey, depends on what time of night they're going by my house.
Oh, you know what? I live next to a main street that we get lots of loud cars going by, and I swear at every racer that goes by. But, if a nice muscle car goes by, I don't care how loud it is. I'm like, yep, that sounded good.
Yep. yeah, that's fair. I'm a little bit more irritated by the high whining little wee.
Yeah.
Chevys all the way. Uh-oh.
I
feel like that's going to brew
muscle,
a fight in here.
That's whether it's a Chevy, a Mopar, or a Forge, to each their own. I just happen to be of the Mopar variety.
Fair enough. Forgiven.
But watch out for them Mustangs. They like to hit people.
Weed whacker sounding things. Exactly. Get off of here if you got one of those. But yeah, either way, guys, make sure you go over and give JuliettKiloFoxtrot some love over on Twitch. His Twitch handle has been rotating around here, or if you're on YouTube, you can find it in the description. Yeah, go over there and to his Twitter page, JuliettKiloFoxtrot, and hit that follow button because, guys, follows are free, at least on Twitch. And here on Mixer, and subscriptions are free on YouTube. Just saying. Either way, thank you so much for joining me.
Yep. And, just watch my Twitter. I don't have a regular streaming schedule, but I usually do announce on Twitter when I'm going to go live. So just keep an eye out there.
Fair enough. Thank you for those sparks, Quilton Zen. And yeah, I think this is the point where I'm going to wrap up. If you guys could drop us some love, follows, and subscriptions, that would be great. We're trying to get the YouTube channel to the point where we don't need the enormously long link anymore. We can actually just shorten it down to youtube.com/geeksofglory. It's not claimed yet, so we can still do that. But either way, thank you guys all so much for watching. It has been great having you. We will be back tomorrow on twitch.tv/geeksofglory with Mayhem Mondays. And then following on with Arini on Tuesday for Chainmail. And starting this Wednesday, Dungeons and Dragons.
Woo.
It's going to be exciting. Oh, you sound so thrilled. Wow. I hope people are more excited about it than that. I've been putting a lot of work into this.
Sorry, that was meant to be, a little enthusiastic. Maybe it just didn't come through that way.
We'll blame it on the mic.
D&D streams.
Fair enough. Well, thank you again so much for being here. And to everyone out there, remember to be kind to yourselves, be kind to others, and until we meet again, may all your days be glorious and full of geekery. Have a great night. We'll see you next week.
Have a good night.